Good morning, fellas. Good morning.
With the Bash Brothers shirt of Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton.
One of them great
one
player.
One of them's healthy, one of them's not.
One is a great, other's a great player too, but does not stay on the field.
I was telling Frankie during the break, have the Yankees tried load managing Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah, I think Giancarlo Stanton's doing that himself.
Don't let him play him back-to-backs.
Yeah, J. Martin's saying let's limit Giancarlo in back-to-backs. That'd be revolutionizing.
I think that's
baseball.
the answer.
Yes.
Screw a pitch clock.
Honestly, not a bad idea. If I could take a healthy Stanton every other day, I would.
Yeah, because he goes on the DL about 3 times a year.
And he'll be out right now for, I think, 7-8 weeks. So
is that long?
It's a bad hammy strain. Year's over. Call it in.
Okay. Where's the market correction?
You guys got to fix him better or something.
I don't know. It's sad. It's actually sad.
It's that Yankees training staff, I tell you.
Giancarlo Stanton would have 500, 600 home runs if he was a healthy player for his whole career.
Honestly, he mashes the ball when he plays.
And it's just sad because he's missing another quarter of a season. So
he is. Well, we got some Kings to cover, and I could tell you this: Frankie loves thumbs up. So if you're on YouTube right now, give Frankie a thumbs up. It's right there at the bottom of the screen.
That'd be nice.
We're having a good day out there. A lot of you are watching. Just hit that thumbs up button. Frankie, as far as games go, is a thumbs up. It was a great game. There's things that we could pick apart yesterday. Your take though, we've seen 4. Just kind of a general overview. 2-2. Nothing's been decided. Just kind of an overall thought of what maybe you thought the series would go and how it's gone to this point.
It's funny. I think it's exactly what we expected. I think these are 2 very good and, in my opinion, evenly matched teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, their flaws, even the Warriors being a really, really good home team versus being a bad road team, that's held up. That's legit. The Kings have done, in my opinion, a very good job of protecting their home court and playing well on the road. We know they've been playing well on the road this season. Last night was one I would have liked to have. I think we all were hoping that Barnes shot would go in for a lot of reasons too. Mostly, I think the Barnes Warriors, that storyline, cool. You have a chance to change that. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll have some big moments in this series. We still have 2 more games to go at least. So, but it's just been a lot of fun. A big takeaway is it's been a lot of fun. There isn't a clear leader in this series. Like I think I was talking with Kyle Madsen out in the tank out there about how we're feeling, and we both agreed. I don't really know. Like,
who's better? I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think I can't sit here and say, the Kings have completely outplayed the Warriors, and I don't think Warriors fans can say the same, and I don't think they are. But I think we're seeing a masterclass of NBA just guard performances here in the playoffs with Steph Curry and De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox is making his name known in NBA circles, and fans are taking note, and it's big for him, and I'm excited to see what the next 2 games look like.
One thing that hasn't happened yet is Sabonis. And I'll go credit to the Warriors more so than blame on Sabonis per se. But why do you think it's been difficult for him to not look like, the Sabonis that's going to be an all-NBA guy, that's been an all-star, that's been, I think when the MVP comes out, he'll probably end up 5th. He hasn't been that guy yet.
No, the Warriors, I think we've really heard a lot. I mean, especially on social media, the Kevon Looney aspect of what makes the Golden State Warriors great. And it's something the Warriors have been good at over the previous years of taking big men out of the game. But we're seeing right now with Sabonis, their physicality, I think, is getting to them. There was even a play last night where Sabonis and Klay Thompson had a moment in the post. And I think the physicality from the Warriors has really bothered him. And last game, I know there's been officiating. That's been a storyline in the series. Sabonis didn't shoot a free throw last game. He didn't get any calls. So I think what we're seeing right now is him being bothered by that physicality, and the ball movement hasn't been there either. I think over the first 3 games, he had 10 assists and 13 turnovers. That's not who he is. Domantas Sabonis, like you said, triple-double guy.
Yeah.
And the turnovers usually, he's had a couple bad games here and there, but usually he has them in check. But last night he finally got to open up that avenue of his game. But they're sealing off the paint. He is not getting to the rim. And right now the Kings are playing well with De'Aaron Fox, doing what he does best. I mean, he's averaging 30 points per game in the series. He's been arguably one of the better players or best players in the playoffs thus far. They need Domantas Sabonis to kind of switch into that gear if they really want a chance to win this series. And we haven't seen it yet. Maybe that's something that's exciting for some, because maybe he will tap back into that. But it's something, in my opinion, that needs to happen if they're going to win this series.
Frankie, they're really sliding off of him too when he gets the ball in the high post and just kind of daring him to shoot. And I've been a little surprised through 4 games how hesitant he just seems to shoot the ball, because it just seems like it's in his head. Should I shoot or should I not? If he can get that jumper going, and I say jumper, very loosely, doesn't get off the ground very high, but if he can start consistently knocking down that outside shot and the Warriors have to play up on him, how much does that change the dynamic on offense?
Well, it changes a lot. I mean, right now, and he said he practices that shot a lot, and he takes pride in the practice he puts in. And if you can start knocking down those mid-range jumpers, you have to bring some people out of the paint, and that can free up some other things. I mean, one thing that I'm looking at Kevin Herter, who has been very good moving without the basketball and scoring in and around the paint. That's a very underrated part of his game, in my opinion, is he can score around the paint. And if you can bring out Looney or bring Draymond Green out of the paint, you can get those backdoor cuts and find a little more room to work with there on that end of things. But knocking down that jumper would be great. I just really think I'm looking at the fouls. I'm looking at the fact I think Warrior fans right now really think the series was called a certain way the first couple of games. And and maybe there were some calls. I think both teams have gotten some fair shots and some fair calls. But last game, I think we've been talking about it all year, especially, but Sabonis got beat up last game. He's getting beat up, and seeing how much he actually contact he takes is incredible. But I'm looking to see him draw more fouls and see what game 5 looks like. I think there's a thought process that maybe at home you get more benefit of the whistle. We're going to see if that's real, but he's down there. He's putting work in, maybe not getting some whistles, but also you have to credit Golden State's defense to keeping him in check.
You know, as you said that, I'd forgotten. I mean, game 1, Sabonis went to the line 4 times. Monk went 14.
That's not happening again.
Yeah. Game 2, let's see about Sabonis. There's 12. So, and that's at home. And I think there's more pressure to get those calls. Game 3, you go where the Kings were just bad. 2 free throws and none yesterday. So in
2 over the last 2 games.
In Chase Center, Domantas Sabonis, who again you could say he's it's physical. He's had 2 free throws.
That can't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're seeing all the contact that's happening down there, it's an offensive foul or it's a personal foul. I mean, it's one or the other. He's taking contact.
Jay and I were debating the final play. Again, you can look at this 1,000 different ways. Did they do it right? Did they do it? No, look, they got a great shot. They missed it. Just your overall. Let's start from the stop they got. So they elected to call timeout, but you could have not. But just the final sequence. So your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, off the rebound that missed, which again, a good stop. I feel good about the Kings in situations like that where they need to pick up one stop. I feel like they are very good in those situations, and they got it. They didn't have numbers. I think Golden State did a good job of getting back court, and they had, I think it was a 2-on-3. So the timeout, I get it. I think there's no better situation that I feel comfortable in than the Kings being tied or down by 1 possession with the ball in De'Aaron Fox's hands. And they got that. They had a chance through everything, through the Steph Curry, that wild technical, which that was catastrophic, almost catastrophic for them, for the Warriors. I feel good about that possession, and give Steph Curry some credit. Poke the ball free from Fox, who Fox had been, busting his ass all night. I'm sure he was a little worn down there too.
Doris was pointing that out on the broadcast too. It's like, okay, now it's time to play on both ends of the floor for De'Aaron Fox. How's that going to affect him, down the stretch?
He was doing everything. And when the ball got poked free, that completely took that away. Draymond slides up, the double happens. But all that being said, Harrison Barnes, that's an open look I feel comfortable in. And I felt good. When the ball found Barnes, he's wide open.
Yeah.
And I really hope there's another chance for him to have that, bring back everything against the Warriors. He brought it up in postgame too, 2016. All of the fan talk and all that people see on social media about 2016 and why he left the Warriors. He had a chance to change that narrative, but just didn't go in. It's a shot that just didn't go in.
He's made 2 game winners before his Kings tenure, recently. So yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't mad at the shot selection at all. The one other good thing, you take away from the loss is the resurgence of Keegan Murray. And, I found it interesting after game 3, he talked about, I didn't even think I was playing bad in this game. I just got in foul trouble. Do you think he's finally, and I've pointed this out to Jason, everyone, you're hearing all the talk, the playoffs are getting to him. I'm like, Keegan's had several moments this year where he'll go 2 or 3 games where he's just kind of not there and then just bust out. And I feel like this is more so looking like what we saw in the regular season with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been streaky for sure at some times, and the shots he was making yesterday were not spot up set 3-pointers. He was creating off the dribble. He was coming off of dribble handoffs, and when those shots are going down, it's a very good sign. And you have to hope you can carry and build off of that. And Keegan is someone who can, like we talked about, can get very streaky and get hot for long stretches of time. If he's feeling it right now, I think he can continue to do so. I'm looking at Kevin Herter though. If the Kings can get Keegan and Kevin going in unison, that can change the series. I mean, if you have everyone working from the perimeter, with other guys like Barnes and Fox chipping in, but you need those two. You need Herter and Murray together, both knocking down threes.
Yeah, we had a text during our last segment. What's wrong with Herter? I said, well, there's a couple things happening. One, I mean, he has missed open shots. There's no denying that. Also, Coach Brown's not waiting. If Keegan's off, he's playing Malik Monk. If someone else is not on their game, he's going to play Davion more.
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of caught up in minutes in kind of the numbers of the series, but he still could have a big game here, and he's got to be ready for that.
Yeah, 2 more games to go. I mean, we have at least 2 more games to go.
Yes, and we're going to kind of preview what to expect for Game 5 as Frankie's in studio with us. We'll do that when we come back here on Sactown Sports.
Are you ready to hear this on Sactown Sports?
Hand off McCaffrey. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Or how about this?
Feels super, baby! The 5-time Super Bowl champions, and they're looking for number 6.
Catch every Niners game during the 2023 season
on your home for the 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. Spring officially here. And with the long, cold, and rainy winter behind us, I'm sure you're counting the days until summer. But don't wait until it's hot to make sure your air conditioner is working efficiently and, most importantly, safely. Get ahead of the problem with a $49 AC tune-up from American Energy Heat and Air. There's nothing worse than your air conditioner going out when it's hot outside. Get a tune-up today and make sure you and your family are comfortable and cool in your home for the hot summer months that are right around the corner. Give them a call, 916-520-9990, or schedule your appointment online at AmericanEnergyAir.com. Better Business Bureau, A+ rating. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. Easy, convenient payment options, same as cash, low monthly payments through financing partners. What do you need? 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Carmichael Dave.
He has very good sources, and he just kind of tells it as it is and gets to the point.
Jason Ross.
He has a lot of pretty smart things to say.
He's good at what he does.
On Sactown Sports.
Well, we'll continue to debate the way Game 4 went. Woulda, shoulda, coulda for the Sacramento Kings. The reality is they do have to move on and go on to Game 5, and that's coming up on Wednesday. Frankie Cartoscelli, our Sactown Sports insider, in studio with us for a second segment. Frankie, moving on isn't always easy, but that's the reality. It doesn't matter. Game 3 wasn't very much of a game for the Kings, but they moved on pretty well, and I thought they were engaged in the game, had leads, trailed. Game 4 was great. It just didn't have the outcome that the Kings wanted. I don't know how many more tweaks and adjustments are to be made as we get ready for Game 5. Maybe it's, hey, this is what we do if you're speaking from the Kings or from the Warriors, and we're just going to try to do it better than you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what it is at this point. I don't know what other tricks the Kings and we're Warriors. I mean, we talked about off the air just now, the lineup changes. How
many they've had.
Yeah, Golden State has been tweaking the lineups, and how Mike Brown is someone who doesn't really care about the starting lineup as much. He really doesn't have – there's not much weight to that. He cares about who closes, and I think Davion Mitchell right now is somebody that I'm looking at as a true factor in this series on both ends of the floor too. I mean, 5 of 8 from the field last night, 12 points, played great defense. He's been doing a very good job, in my opinion, of guarding Stephen Curry and kind of tiring him out. And Steph Curry did slow down the final stretch. Davion Mitchell, I think he's been a huge part of the series. I
want to ask both of you guys this, Frankie and Jay. I threw this out there maybe kind of just nonchalant. Maybe it was in a break of our postgame yesterday. I've heard other teams do this at some point. Now, Steph is having success with Davion being good. Is there any thought to, I don't know, maybe having Steph get a number? And by a number, I mean like 50.
Yeah.
55.
Just shut everyone else down?
Because, right, I mean, if he's getting 30 plus and Clay's in the 20, they had 3 guys over 20. Like that's kind of the Kings' MO. Like when Fox and Sabonis are awesome and there's a third player, they're really tough to beat. I don't know. It just feels like if they're getting that many guys, and yes, the Kings still could have won, it just feels like they're getting too many guys kind of getting cooking. So let Steph go crazy. And not that just go, but any thought on that, or is it just silly?
I'm not going to say it's downright silly. I have to look at it again from everything. I think these guys get cooking no matter what. You know, if you're going to let Steph go for 50, I still think they're going to be in a good spot to win, because I don't think Steph going for 50 equates for Clay going for 12. I don't think it equates for Poole going for 9. You know what I
if
mean?
they're
Like,
still getting 20,
I
it
still
doesn't
think
matter.
they're going to go for 20 plus still even. So it actually could backfire. I told you, and I've been saying this, I think the Kings have played the best defense that this particular club has played in all season, number one. And number two, this is just more of a battle of two really great offenses. I don't think these are two offenses that you're just going to hold under 100 by playing great defense. If you're holding these teams under 100 or hell, even under 110, it's because they're not showing up on offense.
Yeah, I think what we're getting is what we're getting. I think gambling and letting Curry get what he wants is a dangerous game.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point now where I don't expect Mike Brown to make a change to the starting lineup.
I'm with you.
I just don't think that's going to
He'll
happen.
just pull someone quickly. If Keegan's off, if Herter's off, he's going to play Monk or Mitchell.
But I'm also of the thought process that I'd like Davion to be on the floor every time Steph is, as much as possible.
Yeah.
I really think that's important.
Yeah, and the other thing, again, another back to what people say, but I think it's kind of played out to be true. I think the Warriors role players were pretty good at home. They weren't as good here. And the Kings role players actually were good in game 4. They were really good in 1 and 2. So maybe just as simple as being home, the energy, it doesn't guarantee you a win, but the Kings looked pretty good in the first 2 games at home.
I think we're seeing a true home court advantage so far in this series. And game 5, you have to hope for the Kings that it holds up again. I think it's going to be crazy. I mean, it's the biggest game in the history of that building.
For sure.
Maybe one of the biggest. I mean, obviously Kings playoff games. I mean, again, it's not saying much for 17 years, no playoffs, but it's a huge game. And I think the crowd has been a very important aspect of each of these teams' 2 wins. And I'll give credit to Chase Center too. I mean, Chase Center, they did have a home court advantage.
Yeah, it's different than Golden One, but I mean, they got loud. They got loud in game, like as it was going on. I felt like they were there when they needed them.
That's business for them, though. I mean, they've been in the playoffs the past 7-8 years, and they've won finals. People aren't in their seats until the game's about to tip off.
Right.
I mean, versus at Golden One Center, fans are in the seats 40 minutes before tip off, giving standing ovations when players come out to warm up. It's very different. I expect a similar atmosphere. And again, Chris Watkins and I were talking about, I feel like it's been a long time since the Kings have played at home. It's been, I think, a week, maybe a little over a week.
It'll be 8 days.
They stretch these first rounds out, man. And I get it. You know, the NBA is getting their money's worth with their TV contracts.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Yes. They want a game every night. When you've got 8 series, you got to spread them out. And so the next round, it almost becomes every other day.
I prefer that.
Yeah.
But again,
we all do.
But I think you and I were just talking about that.
That might have helped the Kings if it was every other day versus the Warriors.
Because the Warriors, again, they're all mid-30s.
Yep.
I mean, they're not the Kings who are, the young whippersnappers, the 20-somethings. I think that it could benefit them because the Warriors look gassed late in the game. They've looked gassed the past couple of, the ones at Golden One Center for sure, they look gassed. And the Kings, they like to run. So if you don't have those downtime, those rest days, then you benefit.
And Jason brought this up earlier, starting after Wednesday's game, you don't have these gaps anymore. It's every other day. It's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So, I mean, not to state the obvious, the Kings need to get game 5. I don't think we have to dive too deep into why on
Hot
that
take,
one.
Very hot.
But I feel like, you come out there, that really favors you going back to Chase, just turnarounding on Friday night, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's, again, why it would have been so great to get last night, or yesterday. But, yeah, if you win game 5, I'd feel a lot better about the Kings win this series, which, again, it's not really a crazy take. But I think we're about to learn who this team really is. I mean, this team has been good all year long. They have handled adversity. They have limited these losing streaks. I think they've only had 2 or 3 game losing streaks longer than 3 games, 3 games or more. They got to stop the streak before it hits 3.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to do it at home. I feel confident as ever about the Kings playing at home. I think the Kings do too. But they need to prove that they are up for the challenge and that they're actually a very good playoff contender.
You were in there yesterday with post game. There's a podium situation in locker room. You kind of saw both of that. I felt like that was the tone. I watched it and heard it more than was in it, like you were. Was frustration that they didn't get the win, disappointment, let's say, but also optimism at the way they played. And then look, we're going home. Like, was that kind of it almost kind of went like they went through their grief, but then they're moving on and ready for the next task. What was your read of their vibe?
Yeah, nobody seemed down. Nobody seemed upset or I mean, Keegan Murray, you can't really tell. I mean, he keeps the same demeanor, but HB seems super upbeat even after the shot. I mean, he's making jokes about 2016. He's clearly in a good mind space. I just think the thought process is it's almost like we're back to game 1. I mean, it's best 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is I think a lot of us expected this too. I mean, I don't think the Kings would sit there and say they expected a 6-7 game series, but from the outside, I don't think anyone was expecting a sweep or a gentleman's sweep or what have you. I think that this was expected, a 6-7 game hard fought series this team's ready to go. They're ready for game 6.
We all
Five.
expect.
5.
Yeah, game 5.
That too.
Well, they might be ready for game 6. We don't know.
They're going to have to be. They're going to have to be.
We've talked all about how De'Aaron's made for the playoffs. Are you surprised of how good he's been?
I really don't think so. I mean, I think scoring 38 twice in the first round is incredible. That, to me, I did not sit here and expect that to happen, but I never expected a De'Aaron Fox him to fade away and average 18 on 40% shooting or anything. I expected him to rise for the occasion because he's been a big-time player as long as De'Aaron Fox has been on the national spotlight. Even going back to the Kentucky days, he's performed well in these big games. And, I hope we see a lot more of him. I hope there's not just 2 more games of De'Aaron Fox. I hope we see a lot more. But, again, it's like I think I was talking about it yesterday with James Ham and Brendan Nunez about how it's like the Donovan Mitchell aspect. When Donovan Mitchell was shining in the playoffs a couple of years ago and people were starting to realize, oh, wow, Donovan Mitchell was a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the national, the media perspective of De'Aaron Fox and who he is starting to become known. De'Aaron Fox is a very good player and he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
He's going to be a superstar.
I love that Draymond tries to play the role of the intimidator, the enforcer, the bully, and De'Aaron was not having that yesterday.
No, but also that play. I mean, the whole thing started from Draymond telling Keegan Murray to get off the floor.
Yeah.
You're going to go with Keegan Murray? So
right.
I'm assuming one of the nicest players or players who doesn't say anything in the NBA.
Hi, Draymond.
Yeah. Hi, okay.
My head hurts.
It was like a big brother standing up for a little brother thing.
Yeah, it was.
I think Matt George had a nice video of it too. You can see when he says it, even Domantas Sabonis looked like kind of at him when his eyes got big, like, what? And that's where Fox stepped in. But you'll have to see that. You'll have to see Kings stepping up for their little bro and Keegan. But it's going to be a fun game 5.
Yes. This is fun. I mean, it's yesterday hurt. There's no way around it, but this is fun. I'm glad we're in this spot, especially where the Kings have been in the past. And Wednesday's going to be amazing.
It's going to be electric, as always. And Kings fans, show up in numbers.
You going to be there?
I think I'll be there.
Yeah. No practice today, right? They took today off. I mean, they'll have their workouts.
They'll probably do a film day. Film day
or whatever.
Film today, and then tomorrow practice, and then Wednesday, roll it
on.
out. Yep, roll it out.
On. Well, make sure you check out all of Frankie's work on Sactown Sports. Frankie, great to have you in here, and talk to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. All rise.
All rise. That's right.